This month in SSW Tech News, AI is coming for your wallet and all the big players want in. ChatGPT wants your health data, and the dev world is on standby for a brand new update from China. All that and more. I'm Cogan, let's get into it. Let's start with the update that is already changing the way we shop. Google has released Universal Commerce Protocol, and this is an agent checkout. How they describe it is they say it's an open source standard designed to power the next generation of agentic commerce. Long story short, these AI agents are going to be shopping on your behalf and making the experience and access to your wallet easier than ever. It's already working with Agent Payment Protocol and some other things we're familiar with, including Model Context Protocol. Of course, the big players are already getting in on the action, including Shopify, Etsy, Wayfair, Target, Walmart, and a bunch of others. A lot of these brands right now are American-based, but I think we can guess it's going to be a pretty speedy pickup in the rest of the industry, and everyone's going to be jumping on board and making the transition to having their shopping experience in your AI agent as seamless as possible. If we zoom out to the state of the whole retail industry, the US kicked off the year with the National Retail Trade Show. And over here we have some very futuristic looking holograms. It's very impressive, but when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, it's not these futuristic holograms that are really the future. It is agent shopping. And this is exactly where Google took the opportunity to launch its new protocol. So, at NRF's trade show, Google announced an open source standard called Universal Commerce Protocol. And this is allowing people to shop from Target within Google's AI mode. Now, you might be thinking, are people really going to swap over? Of course, in the dev world, a few people might be quite confident and comfortable with it and they're willing to do it. But the everyday person, maybe not. If I'm used to just shopping online, I'm happy with the experience, it's already pretty seamless. Maybe I wouldn't want to do it. But it looks like Google is really incentivizing it. So they're also allowing discounts for shoppers browsing in AI mode. If you were looking at buying something and now you know it's going to be 15% cheaper with AI mode and you use it and you like it, it's going to make you even more likely to buy it next time. My personal experience, it's already too easy. So let us know your thoughts down below, how you feel about AI and shopping being even more integrated. And of course, Google isn't the only one getting in on the action. The Microsoft Store is shifting to AI-driven app discovery in 2026. We're talking about new capabilities that help retailers move faster and deliver shoppers with more and more relevance. And of course, we have some big industry partners as well, including PayPal and Shopify and Stripe. And we can look over here at just how seamless the experience is. That was a 16-second purchase experience. Very, very fast, and I think that people are getting quite excited about it. Up until this point, we've been seeing a lot of growth in the AI sector, but not a lot of ways to fund it. This new update presents a very lucrative profit stream, and we might just start to see AI paying for itself. But OpenAI has another idea of how it might do it. They've just released their approach to advertising and expanding access to ChatGPT. Now they go on a little rant about how it's been free for a while and how most people aren't paying and some people are paying just a little bit. And they're saying, hey guys, expect ads from us soon. So this is big news. This part of the internet that had been very theoretical, very science-driven, very futurist, is now starting to try and pay for itself. In a huge win for Gemini, it looks like Apple has given up on Apple Intelligence and they're saying, in order to make Siri smart, we have to give it a brain transplant with Gemini 3. And they've released this joint statement and they're saying they're going to maintain their integrity. But, there is a little bit of doubt in the industry. Obviously, people are quite keen on Gemini, and the reason why they're keen, if we look at this opinion piece by John Anthony in Tech Reader, is because Gemini is already powering the Android phones, and people have been loving this experience. Having Gemini built into my smartphone's operating system has opened my eyes to the possibilities of AI features way more than Apple has ever been able to do until this point. In fact, I started using more Google features than ever before, all because I want the most seamless Gemini integration possible. As people get a taste of Gemini through Siri, let us know, do you think Apple or Google will win this war? To jump back over to OpenAI, in a move that could be utopian or dystopian depending on how you see it, OpenAI has debuted ChatGPT Health with private data isolation. So, what does this mean? Well, they're saying it's a dedicated experience that securely brings your health information and ChatGPT's intelligence together. Now, you might be wondering, hey, OpenAI, can you stop meddling in my health? And to that, they say, based on our de-identified analysis of conversations, over 200 million people globally ask health and wellness related questions on ChatGPT every week. So I'm looking at all of you because clearly we are all putting our symptoms in there and asking what's up, to the point that OpenAI has said, we have got to build something to properly answer these questions. And they've gone all out. They're saying they can partner with Apple Health, Function, and MyFitnessPal, which is a nutrient tracking site. Of course, with things like this that are seen as very high risk, Europe has said, hey, not yet. So the EU, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom are not quite getting involved. They want us to guinea pig it out. And when they say us, I think it'll be the US first. So some pretty seamless integrations in the US with their medical availability. I think in Australia, you can still use the tab. You'll just have to upload your own documents, which I think that I will actually give a go. Now, I'm one of those people that will come to ChatGPT and say, why am I feeling lightheaded? If this had my health information, it probably wouldn't be likely to tell me, hey, Eve, you might be having a heart attack or a stroke. It'll say, based on MyFitnessPal, you had 5 martinis last night and 2 hours sleep. So maybe you just need to rest. Could be quite enlightening. We'll see. And if we have a look, we can put medical records in here, Apple Health, functions, Weight Watchers, all these kinds of things. Of course, this whole enterprise is a huge data risk, and it's probably the reason why the EU is not wanting to get involved. Now, if you're a dev and you're really into this kind of stuff and you're using it, let us know, how are you protecting your data, and do you think this will be useful? We've spoken about OpenAI, we've spoken about Gemini, and now we have to talk about, of course, their competitor Anthropic. Devs have come to know and love Claude Code, but now they're releasing Cowork, Claude Code for the rest of your life. I love it, so let's have a look at how it works. This looks pretty cool, and as a non-dev, I like that I can use that interface the devs have been using in non-dev tools in more text-based tools. Now let's see how people are responding to Claude Cowork. On Reddit, where the truth comes out, well, of course devs know to be a little bit terrified of Claude going rogue and deleting important files. So as a non-dev, I'm going to make sure my OneDrive is absolutely refreshed and up to date before I let it get in there and perhaps delete things. So it can be a very helpful tool, but a warning from the devs to the non-devs who might be getting involved with Claude Cowork now, to make sure everything's backed up and know that it can go a little bit rogue, even though it's pretty powerful. Now to get a little bit techie, we can see that the .NET team has added automated test retries to Azure environments. So this comes in that mid-December update. The .NET team officially announced Azure DevOps support for modern Microsoft testing platforms. So it was addressing the flaky test problem, basically meaning when things would fail, it would fail the whole system. It was specifically addressing the flaky test problem. So by integrating the platform's retry capabilities directly into the Azure DevOps pipeline, it ensured that transient environment failures in Azure didn't break your entire CI/CD flow. So a good update there. And for another important updates, we have GitHub retiring Claude 4.1 and GPT-5 models. So we have upcoming depreciations of select GitHub Copilot models. These are the ones. It's going to be Claude Opus 4.1, Gemini 2.5 Pro, GPT-5, and GPT-5 Codex. Now, this is all going to be phased out on February the 17th. So you've got a little bit of buffer time. I know that some people have been using these old models and their workflows are custom designed for them. You've got a bit of buffer to experiment with new workflows that are going to work just as well before we start phasing in the new tech and phasing out the old tech. All right, moving over to China, where DeepSeek V4, the coding monster, is set for a mid-February release. Now, you might be saying, Eve, why are you calling it the coding monster? Well, it wasn't me, it was Reddit who gave it this name after the Chinese organization released a pretty impressive academic paper on conditional memory and scalable lookup. So what they're saying is it's just going to be a powerful new software development tool, and people are getting excited. I will mention, like a lot of Chinese tools, it is open source. So we can see under the hood, we can see how it's working. And the devs are getting excited. We're expecting a Lunar New Year mid-February release. Let's stay in China, where we're seeing some other exciting developments. Z.AI and Huawei have launched a multimodal model on Chinese silicon. So what does this mean? It means the Chinese company has trained an image generation model, something like Nano Banana from Google, entirely on Huawei processors and using chips built in China. What they're saying amid this chip war between the US and China is, hey, look guys, we can do it on our own. At face value, it's very impressive that Chinese firms can build competitive AI systems without the access to the advanced Western chips. But there are also some concerns. There is a little bit of ambiguity in the process. This particular author has highlighted the company can therefore point to having developed a model with local tech, but it hasn't offered any hints about whether Huawei's hardware did it at a speed or a price that means the rest of the world needs to take notice because China has stolen the march. What they're saying is they might have done it, but if it cost them an arm and a leg, if it took a year, it's not as impressive as we think it is. Love to see some more details from China, but until then, still a good sign for Chinese development. And finishing with something a little more fun. I know that we said it last year, I know we probably said it the year before, but I really do think that 2026 is the year for autonomous driving. So we're looking at The Conversation Now, which is an academic Australian outlet, and we have this author here predicting the next generation of driverless cars will have to think about what's on the road, not just see it. So Nvidia's CEO has launched a brand new car that thinks deeply about what it's seeing. So rather than Tesla, which just acts on reasons, acts on the information it's given, there is a little bit more processing involved. Let's have a look at this video over here.
The next frontier of autonomous driving is enabled by the power to reason. This means developing models that can think through extremely rare or never-before-seen situations and act accordingly. Nvidia Alpamayo is helping make this happen today with an ecosystem of open components that brings together AI models with reasoning capabilities to make decisions, closed-loop simulation tools to test those decisions, and massive real-world driving datasets to learn from. Alpamayo 1, the first release in this family, is a large vision-language action model that integrates visual perception, language understanding, and action generation with reasoning to explain its own decisions. Alpamayo 1 can more accurately perceive the environment, interpret context, and anticipate risks through reasoning. These explicit reasoning traces ensure logical consistency and trustworthy explainability. Future Alpamayo releases will include a variety of model sizes that can be used offline for scene labeling and evaluation, or distilled for use in vehicle. The Alpamayo ecosystem also includes the Nvidia Physical AI dataset, containing more than 300,000 clips from over 2,500 cities globally, as well as Nvidia AlpaSim, an end-to-end closed-loop simulation framework. The fully open Alpamayo ecosystem gives developers the tools and scale to build reasoning-driven models, a key ingredient for enabling Level 4 autonomous driving.
That's all in SSW Tech News this month. For more regular updates, you can check out SSW TV Shorts and make sure you're staying up to date with the coolest tech developments you can be chatting about at work or in your social life. Next up, we have this month's user group, based in Brisbane with Jason Tan, Your Niche, Your AI. Over to you, Jason.